Hello, iHeart listener. We have a confession to make. Both iHeart and this commercial you're listening to right now would probably sound a heck of a lot better on the new Roku Pro Series TV. It's got side-firing speakers that fill your room with sound, Dolby Atmos audio that puts you right in the middle of the entertainment, and the ability to pair seamlessly with your home theater sound systems that already have surround sound and booming bass. If all that sounds too good to be true, it'll sound even better on the new Roku Pro Series. Your hearing isn't better, your TV is.
The Philadelphia Eagles are Super Bowl champions.
It's over! Fly, Eagles, fly!
Celebrate the big win with the official licensed Super Bowl champions gear. Available now at NFLshop.com.
The Eagles win it! Super Bowl 59!
From jerseys to hats to must-have collectibles, we've got everything you need to rep your team with pride. Don't wait. These styles won't last. Shop now at NFLshop.com and gear up like a champion.
Deciding on what to listen to is hard. Using Zumo to stream music from iHeart 90s radio is easy. Or play iHeart Country or Hip Hop Beats. Your choice, all for free. Stream easy with Zumo Play. Get live and on-demand entertainment with no logins, no signups, no accounts, no hassle. This February, stay in and watch Glory starring Denzel Washington and Matthew Broderick, or the rom-com Breaking All the Rules with Jamie Foxx and Gabrielle Union. All streaming free on Zumo Play. Go to play.zumo.com now. Life is hard. Zumo is easy.
Country sensation Hardy is bringing the Jim Bob World Tour to Somerset Amphitheater. Catch him when he takes the stage August 16th with special guests Co Wetzel, Stephen Wilson Jr., and Sikaris.
You're making that
Hoping
up.
I'm saying that correctly. Tickets go on sale Friday at 10 a.m. Get all the details now at KFAN.com. Keep your calendar. Sikaris.
Sorry.
Hardy. Co Wetzel.
Who was the first one?
Well, Hardy is the country sensation.
I can't believe it's coming.
It's the Jim Bob World Tour.
It's the Jim Bob World Tour. Then that'll be followed by the Billy Joe, Bobby Sue World Tour. This is a song about Billy Joe and Bobby Sue, two young lovers with nothing better to do. The legendary Mark Rosen joins us now in the climate-controlled 651 Carpets Plus Studios. You look a little tanned, rested, and ready. You were in Palm Springs, correct?
Yeah, we were there long weekend. Friday through and came back yesterday. You were out there. We were just talking about it.
Yeah.
I would never have imagined, 10, 15 years ago, that would be almost top of my list as far as a getaway, whether it's 4 days or a week or whatever it might be.
I love Palm Springs.
And we were just talking about, it's got the feel of a small town. I mean, it really does. You're right. You're right on about that. And weather's perfect this time of year. It's bathwater. I mean, it's 72, 73 degrees, whatever it is. And obviously, a lot of Minnesotans out there as well I ran into, but yeah, a little bit of everything out there. So it was very enjoyable. Watched the big game, and that was about it. But as far as any indoor activities go, this thing out from being outside, but yeah, it was great. Came back yesterday and had a really nice time.
We were talking about, Phoenix is where a lot of people like to go to golf and vacation and such like that. And Phoenix is okay, but to me, it's too big. I was just looking at population U.S. cities. New York's still number one, L.A. number two, Chicago number three. They've always been 1, 2, 3 forever. Houston's 4, Phoenix is 5. Phoenix is the 5th most populated city in the country.
Yeah, the traffic out there in Scottsdale area has changed so much. I haven't been out there that many times, but when I have, you get frustrated going. It's sort of like, to me, for a while there, maybe it's changed because of the hurricanes, whatever, but the driving from Fort Myers, let's say, to Sanibel or Captiva, getting across the causeway, sometimes it would take you, depending on the time of day, it could take you a couple hours to get there. And the traffic there was sometimes unbearable. You just had to kind of deal with it. And I think Scottsdale, even talking to some friends who've gone there, and it's sort of that same way where you realize how big a city it is.
Yeah.
And Scottsdale is the major part of it. So I'm with you. I like the idea of being able to kind of mosey around. And a lot of it's, foot traffic, depending on where you stay in Palm Springs. But I mean, a lot of it is just kind of walking around, and you can certainly get your steps in, for sure.
And flipping through they have the top 50 on a Wikipedia page. Minneapolis, when it's coupled with St. Paul, it's like 15 or 16.
Yeah, that's our correct.
But when you separate the two cities, even though they're right next to each other, Minneapolis is only 46.
Right.
I mean, there's a bigger population in Omaha. And we're a
I don't think people would understand.
Well, if you would have told me that, I wouldn't have said
proper?
that. I just know they have the rank. It says Minneapolis. Yeah. Minneapolis.
Right. Not suburbs. Yeah.
Yeah. So there you go.
Yeah.
So those are
that's.
So you're back.
I'm here.
I was going to rip you for something. What was it?
Of course you were. You had it all saved up.
Well, yeah. You basically said Glenn's too smart. He'll own the team.
Well, listen. If you recall, I said I'm hopeful that Lori and A-Rod get it because I outlined my idea, the way my brain works in terms of saying I think people want a fresh look, a fresh this, a fresh that. And Glenn's had decades to kind of run the show. But based on Glenn's success ratio when it comes to the world of business and what he's done, he could be pretty ruthless. He's got a way of winning, not losing very often. And as it turned out, it was a 2-1 vote. I mean, one vote decided it could have easily gone Glenn's way. And I'm thrilled that Lori and A-Rod have it now. And once the Board of Governors approve it, which I think they will, because I think they've been politicking pretty hard behind the scenes. They know enough people with the Board of Governors and the owners, and that's. I'm not saying it's a rubber stamp, but I don't think it'll be difficult for them to, as many friends as Glenn has with the owners. I think it's still going to be. We want those guys to take over, and then so we'll see where it goes. I mean, I know the big thing is going to be the arena. Number one, they're not going anywhere. Okay, so for people who think they're going to move the team, they're not moving.
How do you know?
The team? Because the league doesn't want them to. Number one, that's where they have a lot of opposition. They want to put an expansion team where all the owners make a lot of money in Seattle or elsewhere, Vegas. I don't know, but the biggest thing is going to be the arena. Where I think they want to build it is International Market Square area. That's where I think it's going to go eventually.
Really?
Yes. Yes.
What makes you think that?
Just from people I've talked to.
Karn?
Karn's not, that doesn't work for the Timberwolves.
Well, no, but she knows everything.
Oh, she doesn't know everything.
I think she does.
We were laughing about that.
I think she's got her fingers on the pulse of everything.
We were chuckling about your insistence on mentioning Karn's name a lot during our weekend. We were laughing about it. And I said, apparently you know everything. And she was working on, she stepped in the door last night and was working on a contract at home.
Right.
I mean, she's like, she's just on call. Like, can be constant.
Could she work on my next contract?
Sure. If you want. I mean, she's not a negotiator.
Oh, wow.
She just writes the contracts. Now, if you want something specific in the contract, like certain,
Last time I tried to negotiate a contract here.
How'd that work out?
The guy in charge said, well, wait now. I said, I'd like a little, can we talk about this one? Oh, that's what you're going to get. And I said, well, what that can't we? He said, well, we knew you were going to come in high. We were going to come in low.
Right.
So we just met you in the middle. And I'm thinking, well, you have no idea what you didn't know where I was going to be. So are we really in the middle? And I said, well, on the top of my email, it says contract negotiation.
He said,
in 15 minutes, it doesn't seem like we're negotiating here. So.
Well, I mean, it's not so much that, obviously the dollars are always the most important thing, but it's the extra little bennies you can try to put into a contract that people can get. And, sometimes you have that power, more times than not. As an employer, you don't when you're dealing with bosses, but, everybody to each their own. You can try to get that kind of power to put things in your contract.
I wish Karn was with us right now because maybe she could explain this. I still don't understand. It must be, nothing is as simple as it seems, I guess, right? Except for meat sauce. And it's, if at the crux of this was, Glenn said they didn't make the deadline for the third tranche, and they say we did, then why did it have to go? Couldn't somebody, somebody that knows contracts go, that's what it says, and either one is right or one is wrong, but it had to be more complicated than that, right?
It had to be, and I think it's just attorneys that, Glenn's attorneys looking at it and going, no, you didn't get the payments in on time. A deadline's a deadline. And Lori and Rodriguez's people are going, Yeah, we did. Even though it wasn't necessarily in the bank, we had
Right.
earnest, whatever it might be. I don't know.
That's what I don't understand. But obviously, because I thought Glenn
eyeballing it.
I thought Glenn was going to win. I thought Glenn was only because, not because, I know you thought, and Glenn is very good at what he does. Yeah. I didn't think it was going to be so much that. I was just going to say, it seems to me like it's cut and dried. It's either day or right, left or right, good or bad, but apparently it was much more complicated.
Well, a lot of it, and Glenn admitted early on, months ago, that, he was trying to help out his limited partners.
His limiteds.
Some of those folks I know, but obviously the price of doing business and the price of that franchise was going up and up and up, and he was trying to. He has enough money. He
wanted to help his limiteds.
Yeah, exactly, limited. It's just weird because Glenn doesn't. We've always wondered this too because of. Who was going to take over? I mean, Glenn's 80-some years old.
82.
Doesn't really have any heirs. His wife Becky is around, but I don't know how that was going to work out.
Didn't
he have a son-in-law that was like a president?
Rob Moore. He's completely out of the picture.
Right.
Yeah, I don't know where he is right now, but yeah, he was involved for a while.
So Glenn has no sons?
Not that I'm aware of. No.
Yeah, I don't. Because you would think, a son or a daughter
would be prominently involved. Yeah.
Especially, those guys who love sports, how they get.
Well,
they want to run the club.
I mean, there's a lot of, as we've seen with the Pohlads. And there's a lot of family stuff. And that happens a lot with a lot of the teams around all of professional sports.
Lori and Rodriguez aren't officially owners yet because it still has to. They have to deposit that dough, and then the board of governors has to vote, which most people feel it's a formality, and it probably is. And so then they will. And when that happens, I don't know if it's going to happen in the next week, month. I've not read anything or seen any speculation on that.
I think it's a little ways away, but it's not going to take till the fall. I mean, they're going to settle it, by this, maybe even before the season's over, but when that vote takes place, and then they'll, I'm sure. It'd be interesting to see, and I'll be at the game tonight, to see if, and Glenn gets, he's still part owner of the team. He gets to keep his courtside seats, I think, as part of the agreement.
Oh, the same ones?
I don't know. I don't know, because he's got the two right next to the Wolves bench, A-Rod and Lori, although Lori sometimes sits on that same side, but a little further away. No, Glenn has not been in attendance for quite a while. He had hip surgery and hip replacement, so I haven't
Just like
seen
you.
Him. Did not have hip replacement surgery. Knee replacement surgery.
Knee, that's right.
I've not seen Glenn. I don't think Glenn's been at a game since the surgery near the end of the year. And he was an obvious discomfort when I saw him walking back in last winter, whenever the season started. But yeah, I don't know how that's going to transpire. How visible those guys will be tonight. A-Rod, last time I looked, likes to be seen. He likes to be the center of attention.
So does Lori.
Of course
Lori
they do.
Loves it. Every picture you see of Lori, he's on courtside, he's laughing hysterically at something somebody said. Every time. Look at any picture you see of him.
Yeah, you're right.
He's just laughing hysterically. Guys, it's just so much fun hanging out with the beautiful people.
Well,
he's one of the beautiful people now.
He's, it's I mean, I was thinking it's a breath of fresh air, but they have to now follow through and do the things that are, just from a basketball standpoint. Obviously, they got Tim Connolly extended, and I think even if you don't agree with all the moves he's made, including the last two that he's made, the other one, the Karl Anthony Towns trade, the jury's way out until Randall and DiVincenzo come back, and hopefully not too long after the All-Star break. You got really the crux of that trade is still, in the training room. They're getting closer, but until they do, you're not going to know how that's going to pan out. But having said that, I think that Connolly still has a really good reputation, having built the Denver Broncos, the Denver Nuggets, into a championship team a few years back. But I think the big thing is going to be for them. I know, A-Rod talked to me. I mean, the arena is paramount. I think Glenn was a little colder about how they were going to do it. They've spent a lot of money on, renovating it a little bit, but it still needs more than a paint job. I think it's the second oldest arena in the NBA. These things sneak up on you.
I think it's nice. course, I haven't been there in 20 years, but I thought it was nice.
Well, it was when Harvard Marv originally had it built. When they got the franchise, remember David Stern had said, "Hey, you guys got to put more seats up here, upstairs. This is not, the capacity is not enough." And it was kind of an afterthought, and that's why I think, compared to the X, not exactly a bird's eye view up there. You're a ways away from looking at basketball players on the court when you're in the upper regions of that upper deck. But anyway, that's life in the city.
Let's take a break. We'll come back. We'll talk several other topics I want to bounce off Mark Rosen, including the big game. A little of this, that, lat. 10 and B, though, as a keyword, I think, to try to put $1,000 in somebody's hand.
Yeah, the fan wants to give you a shot to put $1,000 in your hand with our national cash contest. Enter the keyword BILLS at KFAN.com now for your shot of winning. That keyword is BILLS. Enter now, KFAN.com.
What are you looking for in a new smart TV? 4K picture quality? High quality and immersive sound? A sleek design? All of those are givens, but only the new Roku Pro Series has all of those and the Roku streaming experience, an award-winning OS. Get fast, easy access to all your apps like iHeart, where you can stream all your favorite music, radio, and podcasts all day, and regular all-inclusive trips to Roku City. The new Roku Pro Series, a smart TV built by the streaming pros.
Get ready, Minnesota's ZZ Top is bringing their legendary rock sound to the land of 10,000 lakes. Don't miss your chance to see these rock icons live at the Ledge Amphitheater on June 12th. Tickets are on sale now. You can get all the details over at KFAN.com keyword calendar.
You're getting ripped. Courtesy of the Bradshaw and Bryant KFAN.
Okay. Well, it's nice to be back. For what? Larry Mondello guy?
No.
Oh.
Tend to be listening to this one. Rosen just commented on the view from Target Center's upper level.
How would he know, right?
What, did he read about it in a book?
I always
We know he's
that
never
one.
stepped foot up there.
That's not true, number one, but...
Did you read about it in a book?
Okay. Two things. First of all, I've been up there before. Number two...
When?
Why would I sit up there when I have a media pass?
I know, but I just...
I'm aware of what happened when they built the place. I thought they were going to say something else about.
Well, that's just so funny.
Everybody's hilarious. Everybody's got a.
When the capable Carl Allen and I were working at the Forest Lake radio station, we decided to apply for media credentials for a Wolves game, right?
Yeah.
You remember Billy Robertson?
Very well, of course.
So Billy's running Billy's running the show over there, right?
Right.
And we're at the Forest Lake radio. We didn't even think we'd get it. Next thing you know how they had that one table about 3 or 4 rows back at center court that they would seat some media people there, which I think is gone now. They've turned them into regular seats.
Yeah,
But there was a Carl and I are there.
Uh-huh.
And plus, the food, I've always thought the food at the Target Center is fine. I mean, it's not.
You talking about the concession food?
No,
or the media food?
The media food. I mean, it's not Manny's or Ocean Air, that you're used to. But
that I'm used to.
It still wasn't. So Capes and I think this is the greatest thing ever. We just had dinner and a game.
You're at Forest Lake radio station.
So then the Wolves coming back into town. So like a week later,
we get credentials again.
Get credentials again. Well, this time we were up in the basketball press box.
Right.
We weren't courtside. Billy was just giving us a taste. Hey, your first time here. Go ahead and sit here.
Right.
But then the second time was, well, no, you guys aren't going to get those all the time. And we're sitting up there and we're going,
where are they?
I can't really see there's the cloud cover up here. I can't see the court. It was, so it's not.
Well, they even moved the broadcast night. Alan Horton, and he's not at courtside anymore.
What?
No, he's like in the next little level up. Now he's not up in the upper deck, but he's in between. Oh. Like when you watch or listen to Horton and Grady and Pete.
They're still courtside, aren't they? Or they got to be. Nah, maybe not.
I don't know if they are. No, I don't think they are.
Okay. Your Wolves club, speaking of the Wolves, let's talk about on the court. I think they won 3 in a row. Ant's been
crazy.
Offensively, he's been the Finch criticized him even though he scored 41 in the loss to Cleveland.
Right.
He wanted him to
play some defense.
Involve his teammates a little bit more as well. He had 41. Nobody else had more than 13. They are missing, full disclosure. They're missing Randall and DiVincenzo. But boy, they they were down. They missed their first 16 shots.
Unbelievable.
Which is the first time it's the first time in franchise history the team's gone over 16. It's the first time a team has done it since 2004. I mean, that's how bad the offense was early on.
Right.
Ant caught fire later. Nobody else helped out much. The defense, according to Finch, was a step behind the entire game. And it just goes, now again, they didn't have two of their key players, the alleged key players in Randall and DiVincenzo, but it does go to show you how good that Cleveland Cavaliers team is, that they basically dominated from start to finish. So they got a ways to go, but where they're sitting right now, things don't appear too bad, but they got a tough schedule. Is it Milwaukee tonight or tomorrow?
Yeah, without the Greek Freak tonight.
Right. Is that tonight? They
play Milwaukee tonight, then they got OKC, number one in the West, tomorrow night. So OKC also plays tonight, so it's not like, and obviously the Wolves are home, so it's not like they're traveling. But
yeah, and on this program, at least this side of the counter, we never take that into consideration because it's meaningless.
No,
we've had too many people say it.
I know.
Too many players have said it doesn't matter. Even,
so why should we buy into it?
Yeah, so I don't buy into it either.
Yeah.
It's just like, they're young guys. You can play 2 games in a row. You really can.
Yeah, they got enough depth
time.
right now. They get a chance to play against those teams. So, a long ways to go. But, the All-Star break's coming up, and then hopefully that at least they get one of those guys back within a week or two right after the break. So they need that for sure.
And we think Randall has that adductor thing, and he might be a couple of weeks. Same thing that your guy's street clothes.
Oh, my God.
And he's adapted well to Dallas. He's in his street clothes already. I saw him courtside wearing a 10-gallon hat, chaps, cowboy boots, and spurs. So he's fitting in with Dallas with his new...
Well, speaking of, kind of the old 6-gun, have you ever seen a franchise shoot itself in the foot quicker than the Dallas Mavericks? Every single level. I mean, it is absolutely astonishing. Even, I'm sure the hardcore fans and people support them. They went to the NBA Finals last year, got beat by a better Celtics team, but we saw how good they can be, and with Luka and everything else, and how you do what you just did and not get the blowback. You have to accept it and move on. I mean, it's just fans are going to boo. You can't throw the fans out of the arena because they're booing or they're holding up a sign saying "Fire Nico" or whatever. I mean, you just can't. You can. I guess it's your prerogative, but you have to let them voice their displeasure. They're fans. They're spending good money to come watch this, and you betrayed them. So what do you think they're going to feel?
Yeah.
It's just amazing.
Well, again, obviously.
And not only that, but now they got their 2 big men are hurt. On top of everything else, I mean, they're looking like they're probably not going to make the postseason the way things going right now, unless Street Clothes gets back. And he had a great start for him in his first game, and then of course he got hurt, and it's a pretty serious injury. I
still again. I'm going to be in the minority again here. It obviously the Lakers look like they got the better end of the deal, but here's what I will still say. No. I think I don't know what the books look like in Dallas, but they're going to have to pay him $325 million or whatever. Now all of a sudden, it's harder. You put it. I mean, and everybody does it. You got to pay your big stars money, but I think they thought they had enough nice players that they could get away. I don't think you have to have one megastar to win. I think we've seen that. I don't know. Everybody seems to have 2. Right. Well, everybody seems to automatically think that now Los Angeles is set for the next 10, 12 years. Let's see. There have been a lot of franchises that have had 2, even 3. Look at OKC back when they had Durantula. They had, who was their big 3? Harden and Westbrook, right?
Right.
Yes.
How many titles did they win?
0.
Well, you'd rather have Doncic. I get that. But if people are acting as though that, I'm hearing these things that the Lakers are now set for the next 10 years and they're going to be hoisting trophies. It's like, let's not get ahead of ourselves.
I don't think people at least watch the NBA a lot, especially in the West, how competitive it is. I don't see them getting to the Western Conference Finals. I don't think they'll make it that far.
I think Golden State's going to get there.
Well, Golden State's got a lot of work to do with Jimmy Buckets, but they got a lot of work to do just to get into but that's, as they say, that'd be a team that nobody wants to play.
They'll be there.
Yeah. Maybe. Yeah. I think so. But they're loaded. OKC and Memphis, Denver's back again. I mean, they're playing awfully well. And Houston, obviously the Wolves feel that they're going to be in the mix as well. So I don't necessarily think the Lakers are going to have any kind of a cakewalk. They don't have a big man right now. That part of that trade was null and void. So they don't have anyone to replace Anthony Davis. So that could come back to bite them a little bit as well.
But having LeBron paired up with Doncic is.
Yeah, I mean, it's certainly pure entertainment.
Well, in that first game, it sure seemed like it inspired. LeBron, because he had scored 40 points.
Yeah, I mean, again, they're got the same opponent tonight. They're playing arguably, along with New Orleans, the worst team in the West. They're playing Utah tonight on the road, and that's the schedule obviously is going to get a lot tougher. But we'll see how they do when they play some really good teams.
Yeah, we'll take. Let's as we go to break, Tennessee. Let's do our giveaway. It's a Wild Wednesday on the Fan, presented by Jim Beam. It's been a crowd pleaser since 1795. And this is your shot at Minnesota Wild tickets. Be the 11th caller right now at 1-800-320-5326. 1-800-320-5326. 11th caller wins a pair of tickets to see the Wild face the Red Wings February 25th. Call now. If you're the 11th caller, you'll be a winner from everybody at the Wild, Jim Beam, and all of us here at The Fan.
Hello, iHeart listener. We have a confession to make. Both iHeart and this commercial you're listening to right now would probably sound a heck of a lot better on the new Roku Pro Series TV. It's got side-firing speakers that fill your room with sound, Dolby Atmos audio that puts you right in the middle of the entertainment, and the ability to pair seamlessly with your home theater sound systems that already have surround sound and booming bass. If all that sounds too good to be true, it'll sound even better on the new Roku Pro Series. Your hearing isn't better, your TV is.
Brain in Your Hand is back on KFAN. We have 9 chances for you to win $1,000 every weekday. That's every hour from 9 a.m. until 5 p.m. To enter the keywords and learn more, head over to KFAN.com.
Is there such a word as assuage? No. What does that mean?
A what?
Assuage.
A-S-S-A-U-G-E?
Yes, A-S-S-A-U-G-E. Could you
know
look
how to
at that?
spell it.
I think that's how you pronounce it too, isn't it?
What was the context you come up with that? Yeah.
Well, because I'm going to have it for you here if I'm using it correctly.
All right.
Assuage.
Pursue? I mean, persuade? No.
I think it means like...
Assuage.
I think it means
assuage.
Like takes away worry.
Assuage.
Of your concerns.
To make milder or less severe. To appease, satisfy. To soothe, calm, or mollify.
So to soothe, calm, or mollify your concerns about the Lakers not having a big player. They did sign somebody named Alex Len.
Oh, no.
A 7-foot center. Played 36 games this season for SAC. Mm-hmm. He hasn't played since February. He's averaging...
Since February of when?
This year. Or maybe last year.
Oh, it is February. Yeah.
It says... no, he has played some this year. He's had limited playing time. He's averaging a single, 1.4 points a game, 1.8 rebounds.
There you go.
So they got the center position solidified. Yeah,
I got that taken care of. Well, the other part of the deal fell through. That's why they didn't get their big man. So I don't think he's going to be the answer to their prayers in the middle.
Here's a text message, and I don't know. This guy might not be too far from the truth. This came into the Brad John Brian KFAN text line. He says, the chubby kid will be hurt again before we know it. AD's a better all-around player, which is what Dallas needed to put together a complete team. They rolled the dice, trading one injury-prone player for another and saving themselves hundreds of millions of dollars in the process.
Well, Anthony Davis isn't cheap. I mean, he makes a lot of money too.
Yeah, he does.
But come on. I mean, injury prone. I mean, yes, the guys are the chubby kid who happens to be the best player in the NBA. So, I mean, come on. He's 25 years old.
A little chubby.
Yeah. Okay.
Doesn't play defense. He doesn't like to play defense.
Well, he played plenty of. He played.
He did.
But then you could say that about a lot of stars in the NBA.
Right. I guess you're right.
You know, as far as playing defense at the kind of level you want, but he's as innovative and as any player, especially at that age that I've seen. I mean, he's a spectacular talent. But he does get hurt.
Your Kansas City Chiefs attempting a three-peat, never been done in the big game era. You know, the last time a team won 3 championships in a row in the NFL, I believe, when the Packers won the last NFL championship in '66, and then after that, it became the first two big games. They beat Kansas City and Oakland. And one of my favorite sayings is, "If it was a fight, they would have stopped it."
Right,
and because that was as big a beatdown as I've seen. It was 24-0 at the half. It looked for a while there like Kansas City was going to get shut out, and I don't think a team's ever been blanked in a big game. The Vikings came close.
Vikings came close. I mean, they were trailing Pittsburgh 2-0 at halftime. The Vikings have never led a Super Bowl, but that was the closest they've come to making it a competitive game. And then the Steel Curtain took over defensively. Fran had a sore arm, which to this day, I don't know. I mean, I know Bud was going to stick with him, but Fran couldn't throw it from here to you that day. He was not healthy, but that was as close as they. Yeah, I mean, I thought it was going to be like a 41. In the words of Randy Moss, 41 donut. I mean, it looked like it,
and it was. And what's interesting again is they didn't blitz once, and he had 6 sacks, 10, 12 pressures, whatever it was. He never had time to breathe back there. There's very, very seldom. I don't even recall, and I wasn't just like glued. Once it got out of hand, then I was having dinner with my wife and doing this and that and the other thing. But I don't ever see him. It never looked like he could just stand back there for a second and a half and go, okay, there's a guy. It was always
till the end, till garbage time.
Till the garbage time. He's moving around and trying to find. And then even when he did, and he's very good at improvising, like the best star, where he can move around a little bit and throw on the run. But he threw a couple of bad picks, and they just
shut off his lanes. They had him scouted very well.
Just absolutely destroyed them.
Yeah, and that's people go, I want to let down. It's the beauty of the Super Bowl. It's one game. We've been talking about the NBA. You could throw in the Stanley Cup. You could throw in World Series, whatever it might be. When you have a series after series. This is it. I mean, you got one shot at it, and so if it's a letdown, it's a letdown from a competitive standpoint. And the other thing is, when you have a game like this, then every team you say to yourself, okay, what are we lacking to try to become like the Eagles are? Well, I mean, starting with their defensive front four, and think, well, where do you get that kind of talent? It doesn't happen overnight. I thought, Kansas City supposedly had one of the better offensive lines in football. They got banged up a little bit, but they were banged up last year. So, I mean, there's no one way of doing it. Obviously, Jalen Hurts was playing at a very high level, and Saquon Barkley. And the thing is, the Chiefs had basically stopped Saquon Barkley. He was not, the decider. I mean, he was not the guy, the game breaker that we all anticipated, because the running game of the Eagles is going to wear him down. They're going to run through him. They did a hell of a job against Saquon. He never really, I think his longest run was 9-10 yards. Maybe he had one later that was a little longer, but he didn't have that impact on the game that we all thought he would. But Hurts was in command, and he looked, very confident, very cool, and they have, an array of talent, but especially on the defensive side. So, and their offensive line. So it kind of gets back to, well, what do the Vikings have to do to try to reach that level? With obviously through free agency more than the draft, since they don't have that many draft picks at the moment. And they're going to be plenty aggressive. The coaches are back in the building this week. They're meeting, going through their game plans, and Rob Brzezinski's putting his pen to the salary cap and what they have and how they're going to keep their current free agents and who's going to stay, who's going to go, and who they're going to go after. But it's probably the most important 3 weeks of the offseason coming up for all the teams, including the Vikings, leading into the March free agency.
The offensive line, they were talking about, is it Howie Roseman? Is that his name?
Yes, yeah, the G.
And they were talking about there was even a quote where from, I think, last draft, or sometime in the not too distant past, where he said, yeah, we drafted a lot of linemen, and we're going to keep drafting linemen. Because that's what they do. They draft linemen, and they get up on both sides of the ball. That's where they spend a lot of their draft picks. The games won in the trenches is a cliche, but
the Lions did, yeah.
And the Vikings really, they've drafted a lot of linemen. Yeah. It's not like they don't draft linemen. It seems like they wait till a little bit later rounds, and even when they do draft in the early rounds, it just seems like they don't hit as often as some and sometimes you can blame that on bad luck. You can blame it on maybe bad personnel decisions and scouting or whatever the case may be. The Vikings just haven't hit on their offensive linemen like Philadelphia and Detroit and some other teams.
Well, they lost their best offensive lineman in the Rams game earlier in the year. Obviously, Darisaw losing your starting left tackle. The fact that the Vikings still went on to win 14 games winning a lot of games without Christian Darrisaw when they had to go get Cam Robinson is remarkable to me. Because Darrisaw is, I mean, top 5, whatever you want to say, however, whatever poll you want to put together, and getting him back next year will lessen one more concern that they have, not just with the offensive line, but also the defensive line. But, Kwesi did a good job with the free agents, obviously, getting Van Ginkel and Grenard and Cashman this past year. Now they got to duplicate that in the interior lines, both offense and defense, and try to hit on at least a couple players on each side of the ball, I think, in order to kind of move the needle again.
Immediately following the loss, the story started about, because everybody's talking about legacies, and Mahomes being... I've heard some people on this radio station, say that they think already Pat Mahomes is the best quarterback to ever play the game.
Said that.
Tennessee has stated that, and it's hard to argue with that. I mean,
best football player I've ever seen.
Yeah. If
you didn't see Joe Montana play,
well, or and then there's Tom Brady. He's got 7 big games, 6. Yeah. Is it 7 altogether?
No, you can argue. I mean, yeah.
You can. No, I think Mahomes is as good as it gets. If I were starting a team today, he would be the first quarterback I would take.
Not even 30 yet.
Lamar Jackson is very good. Yeah. So is Josh. A lot of talented kids. Joe Burrow. There's a half a dozen. Brilliant quarterbacks out there, and then
some people would take Jordan Love overall.
Well, that's true too. And then there's another half a dozen that are really, really good. But right away, you're reading the articles and listening to the different talk shows and the TV talking heads about what does this do for Mahomes' legacy and such like that. And you can make an argument though. The 2 Super Bowl losses, they were destroyed, and he did not play well in either one. So, and again, am I ready to say, well, that doesn't make him a great player? No, but when if you're talking legacies and starting to do the rankings of, and we all know it's subjective when you go, who are the greatest? I to this day think Otto Graham was the greatest quarterback to ever play the game, and you'll never get me to change my mind until somebody comes in is better than Otto Graham. So there are other people that would say, it's the name you mentioned. There are people that would say, I don't care what you say. Overall, when you put their entire body of work together, Joe Montana was the best quarterback.
I think he was the best clutch quarterback, too. Yeah,
so you can make a lot of different arguments for a lot of different quarterbacks. So I'm not ready to say that, well, no, he can't be, that really damn it. But I'm just telling you, that's a beatdown twice in the big game. Twice. Beatdowns, big time.
Yeah, and he did make some, I think Mahomes, and rightfully so, feels that he can make any throw, any situation, underhand, sidearm, running out of bounds, and he does it most of the time, but it all came back to bite him because the Eagles had him figured out. They really pressured him up the middle. We know that. But I don't think that Mahomes is going to crawl in the fetal position. They're going to be back. It's going to be harder. They're going to lose players. They've lost, it's just the nature of the beast. It's so difficult. And even the idea, and I know the Eagles talked about it after the game. We were so sick and tired of hearing about three-peats, and it sounds like maybe kind of a college type of thing. But I think it does wear on you a little bit. And it's really, really hard. Imagine trying to win your 3rd straight Super Bowl. I mean, and you've been there and you know how all the hard work you put into getting to that point, and you have to beat some really good teams in the AFC to even get back to the big game. And then you run into a buzzsaw like Philadelphia that day when they were playing as well as any the Eagles have ever played. They didn't have, a cakewalk just getting to the big game. Far from it. But they'll be back. I mean, I think I would assume the Chiefs, along with Buffalo, will be.
I think they're done.
You think they're done?
They need a lot of work.
Well,
their offensive line's about as bad as Minnesota's. That offensive line needs some help. They don't.
Yeah, they do.
Pacheco's a nice running back, but he ain't Jahmyr Gibbs.
No, he's not. No, and Kelsey's still deciding what he wants to do. He didn't have a good game. Even from a blocking standpoint, they showed a couple isolated shots of him just whiffing on a guy, too. And,
Tennessee, who's the backup tight end for Kansas City?
Noah Gray.
Noah Gray.
I think Kelsey's done. Not only is he not the best tight end in pro football, he's not even the best tight end on Kansas City's roster. That's your guy, Noah Gray.
My guy.
Thank you.
Yeah.
So, so I think there's some work to do. But it is... I not only picked, but I bet that Kansas City would win.
Yeah,
because I thought they would find a way to do it.
Yeah, though understandably so.
Though though, we did talk about this. The only thing I can say about my my poor pick was I wasn't alone here. This Philadelphia team was much better than the last Philadelphia team that played in the big game. The defense was significantly better, and they literally had a running game this time around with Saquon, even though, as you mentioned, he rushed for something like 57 yards in the game.
Wasn't that kind of a factor?
So it wasn't like he dominated the game and he was the difference in it. It really was, obviously, where their defense was able to shut down Kansas City. But also, Hurts played really, really well. He was in control of his game. He did have time to throw, but he played. There were occasions he ran the football when he needed to. He picked the right spots. He played really, really well. That was a really good performance, I thought, by Jalen Hurts.
Yeah, and it's easy just to say, well, it was a blowout one game, but because it is one game, and we saw that with the Vikings. People are still. You look at how this team won 14 games, and then they had all those chances against the Lions to get the number one seed, at least to put up a fight. And we know what happened in that game. It wasn't like they got shut down and that they didn't have any opportunity to put points on the board. They had 7 or 8 really good opportunities. The Rams game is a whole different story. The Rams did to Sam Darnold what the Eagles did to Patrick Mahomes. They didn't give him a chance to breathe. They were down his throat so fast, and that's again. It's a game of matchups. It's a game of personnel many times, and sometimes it's just not your day. And I think that's what happened with the Chiefs and belonging to Philly. So again, they'll be the favorites next year, and that's just the way that human nature goes. People will be making their predictions for next season. It'll be the Eagles easily. Well, don't forget about Washington. Jane Daniels will be back bigger and better.
I wouldn't turn a blind eye to the Kitties either.
No, I'm not. No, I'm not. No, I mean, they'll be favored to win the NFC North.
They might be favored to win the NFC.
Could be.
The roar has been restored.
Well,
the rumor has it, and I don't know if they can pull this off, but the rumor has it they're the front runners for getting Myles Garrett. Now, what if you got Myles Garrett and Aiden Hutchinson?
That would be difficult.
As your edge rushers.
That would be tough. Well, they can't. Garrett's not a free agent. They have to trade for him.
He wants to be, but he's demanded a trade. He's demanded a trade.
I'm saying you can't just sign him.
No.
Got to give up someone pretty good to get him, or draft capital, high draft capital.
Here's what I'll tell you. Kitties don't need their first-round picks right now.
No, they don't need any first-round picks.
They don't need them. I think they would gladly trade a couple of them to get Myles Garrett. And he wants to go where he has a chance to win a big game.
Well, it's Detroit. They've never won a big game.
No, but it's a good club.
It's a good club. I'm not sure. I mean,
here's what I want.
I will tell you again, it's hard to recover from working as hard as they did to finally get the number one seed and have it, and you own it, and you lay an egg at home. That's hard to recover from. I know. You can't minimize it.
I'm going to minimize it.
Because you're going to go all the way through next year, and you're going to put yourself in the same position.
And, here's what you're doing. Football players will listen to their coach. The coach just says, we're missing half our defense. We're going to be healthy this year. We can get right back.
I don't know that.
Well, that's what he's going to tell them, though. Yeah, and then they're going to keep battling.
Well, the NFC North will be a blast next year. I mean, it will be.
It should be.
It will be with the Bears and Ben Johnson and Caleb's second year, and the Packers are the Packers, and obviously the Vikings will have a new quarterback. Well, not obviously, but J.J. McCarthy will, in all likelihood, be the guy, and a couple of new additions on hopefully offensive line and defensive line. Let's play. A lot of time to worry about that.
You think so?
Well,
time goes pretty fast.
Well,
Mark.
The month of March. Month of March is a lot more important than the month of July or August. That's when you got to sign those guys, and it is. You mentioned you're talking about Ed Donatello and everything. It gets down to personal. You got to have the people. You got to have the players. Every great coach has always said that. Belichick just said it recently. He said, I was a great coach because I had Tom Brady at quarterback, and he started rattling off all the players he had on defense.
Vic Fangio's a great defensive coordinator because he's got one of the best defensive lines in pro football.
Yes. When the Vikings were dominant, I mean, they had Marshall Eller Page and Gary Larson and the linebacking crew. Who was the defensive coordinator? I'm trying to remember now. Bob Holloway or something. Yeah. Jack. I mean, it was the players that made it work. Always.
What are the 4 best words in baseball?
Pitchers and catchers report.
Correct.
Tomorrow.
You
don't think I know that?
I like this club.
I know. It's starting to
catch on with
you.
Yep. We've got, we've got the big 3, we call them.
Yeah.
Now, it's not Catfish Hunter, John Blue Moon Odom, and Paul Lindblad.
Not quite. Or Maddox and Glavin and
Smoltz. But we got Pablo. We got Bailey.
JoJo.
Won't you come home, Bill Bailey? We got Bailey, and we got JoJo. Yeah. And then we got 3 or 4 very deserving arms that might be able to get those 4th and 5th spots. Decent bullpen. We just got Bader, our center fielder, to play the corners as well. Who's going to play first? Ty France?
Ty France.
Yeah.
Ty France is going to be our first baseman. It's all starting to come together.
And, that the health will never be an issue for this team. Byron Buxton will play 156 games, correct. And Royce Lewis and Carlos Correa's plantar fasciitis is gone.
What do you think the chance of this happening are? Lads find somebody to buy the team by April. Mm-hmm. But then the next thing you know, in September, they got a 16-game lead, and they're heading to postseason, and they decide they don't want to sell.
Keep the team.
They're going to keep the team. You didn't make the deadline. You didn't make the 3rd tranche on time. And suddenly they get seller's remorse, like Glenn did.
Not going to happen.
You don't think so?
No. I think we'll know the owner probably by opening day, yeah.
You think it's Toshiba?
Toshiba guys? Okay.
Because those are the guys those are the guys that are
Arizona?
The TV people, right? That TV
Toshiba.
stereos, the Toshiba guys. They're going to
they are. Yeah.
They're going to buy the club. So the Toshiba brothers, it's they're the only name that's public, right? That have said we want the club. I've not heard any other name. Have you?
No, I've heard whispers, and that's all.
What are those whispers?
Just about local
say?
ownership, but I haven't heard any. Even talking to some the power brokers in town, I haven't heard any one name that keep your eye on so and so,
right?
Because he's here, and his group are ready to step forward.
You think you and Karn could become limited?
No, I don't think so.
Why don't you guys buy a couple of points in the club? Wouldn't you like to be owner? Twins limited owner Mark Rosen.
I think I've heard one former Twin might be interested in that.
I've heard several.
Yeah, exactly.
I've heard several former Twins.
I have too. So that's always a possibility. And there's nothing wrong with that. That's a good thing if they can put a face to one of those guys.
I've heard, what name I heard? Rich Rollins.
Rich Rollins.
He's still alive, he's 86.
Is he? God bless Rich Rollins.
Rich Rollins.
I loved watching Rich Rollins play third base.
He was a good third baseman for the club.
He was solid.
I heard it was Brian Harper.
Might be Brian Harper, too.
There you go.
A lot of names out there, Mark.
Oh, man.
We'll bandy him around tomorrow.
Right.
You'll be back tomorrow, right?
I will.
Love to see you at 2 o'clock. Timmy, thanks for having me.
Hey, great job.
You as well. We enjoyed our visit. By the way, did you get, do we have the PS?
They're up. Yeah, KFAN 1003 on Twitter or X.
Yeah.
You can vote now.
Vote early. Vote often. We'll be back tomorrow at 12 noon. Stick around. Big Ticket, JG. They are next right here on The Fan.
Good night. Good morning. Good afternoon. And good night, Minnesota.
And good night, folks. And good night, Mrs. Calabash. Wherever you are.
Timberwolves superfan KFAN Stan Barrero.
Listen back to any of Common Man's programs by podcasting on the iHeartRadio app or KFAN.com.
Have you ever wondered what it would be like to have supervision, enhanced hearing, extraordinary reflexes, to be, dare we say, superhuman? Well, Roku's new Pro Series TV can't do any of that for you. But with a 4K screen, side-firing speakers, and a blazing fast refresh rate, it'll sure feel like it. Elevate your entertainment using all your favorite apps like iHeart and play all your music, radio, and podcasts with the new Roku Pro Series. Your senses aren't better. Your TV is.
The Philadelphia Eagles are Super Bowl champions.
It's over! Fly, Eagles, fly!
Celebrate the big win with the official licensed Super Bowl champions gear. Available now at NFLShop.com.
The Eagles win it! Super Bowl 59!
From jerseys to hats to must-have collectibles, we've got everything you need to rep your team with pride. Don't wait. These styles won't last. Shop now at NFLShop.com and gear up like a champion.
Deciding on what to listen to is hard. Using Zumo to stream music from iHeart 90s radio is easy. Or play iHeart Country or Hip Hop Beats. Your choice, all for free. Stream easy with Zumo Play. Get live and on-demand entertainment with no logins, no signups, no accounts, no hassle. This February, stay in and watch Glory starring Denzel Washington and Matthew Broderick, or the rom-com Breaking All the Rules with Jamie Foxx and Gabrielle Union. All streaming free on Zumo Play. Go to play.zumo.com now. Life is hard. Zumo is easy.